square matrix is any matrix that is shaped like a square. So a square matrix, we're going to define that to be any matrix with the same number of rows as columns. Any matrix with the same number of rows as columns. So what that means is you're going to have a matrix with a certain number of rows, let's say n, and if that matrix has n rows, then it must also have the same number of columns. So the number of columns must be n. So what does that look like? Let's say we have a 2 by 2. Let's say we have the matrix 1, 2, 3, 4. So this matrix has 2 rows, 1 and 2, 3 and 4, but it also has 2 columns. It has 1, 3, 2, 4. And the matrix is shaped like a square, so that's why we call them a square matrix. Now you can also have a 3 by 3, right? Let's say we have a matrix that has 3 rows and 3 columns. So let's say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7, 8, 9. This would also be a square matrix because the number of rows equals the number of columns. So you have 3 rows, 1, 2, 3, row 2, 4, 5, 6, and row 3, which is 7, 8, 9. But you also have 3 columns, right? The first column is going to be 1, 4, 7. The second column is going to be 2, 5, 8. And the third column is going to be 3, 6, 9. So if the number of rows equals the number of columns, you have a square matrix. So there's one more kind of square matrix that I want to talk about today. Let's say it doesn't have 3 rows, it doesn't have 2 rows, let's just say it only has 1 row. Well, if this is going to be a square matrix and it has 1 row, how many columns should it have? It should have the same number, right? It should have 1 column. So what does this matrix look like? Well, let's just say we have the matrix with the entry, let's say pi. Okay? Just one number. So notice, this matrix has 1 row, which is pi, and it has 1 column, which is pi. So a square matrix is going to have the same number of rows as columns. Now, when we say an n row by n column, we can also say an order n square matrix. So if we say that a matrix has order n, that means it has n rows and it has n columns. So for example, this one over here, this is going to be an order 2 square matrix. Right here, this is going to be an order 3 square matrix. And right here, this is going to be an order 1 square matrix.